Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Now, last night I went ahead and did a video on I made a God's will model. I don't know that anybody's ever done that before. And a couple of our, one of them, two of our better uh, participators. One, Jesse P, he's been with us for a long time, almost since the beginning. All right, and he didn't like the model, and I wanted to elaborate on this, and I'm going to go ahead and explain why I made my model further and why it's the model it is. And oh boy, is there a pen? Where's my handy dandy pen? Wasn't prepared for this apparently. Maybe my pen's in here. Let's take a look here. We got my pen. Here's my pen. All right. So we weren't quite prepared for that, but it's early in the morning. Or it was early in the morning. So God's will. Everybody tells you about it. Okay. And I'm not trying to say, like, look, guys, if you believe in God, and this isn't even God, this is just God's will. I haven't dealt with the God theory yet. Maybe I should have done it in the other order, but as it came to me, this was the order we went in. So I want to explain it because people think it's too simple, but people say these things and I guess they don't think about it. Now, I'm going to give you some examples from my personal life. All right. This is everything I've known, guys. All right. So I got my model. Free will, God's will. But let's take my dad. All right. My dad flipped over in a cement truck. Now, that cement truck had just got back from being serviced. It had been gone for 2 weeks. They went through the whole thing. And yet, he flipped off the road, no brakes applied, would indicate maybe he had a heart attack, but he'd been going to the doctor and doing all the things that he should be doing to keep himself in good health, and his family, most of his family lived to be well into their 90s and hundreds. So, heart attack, right? Nobody could figure it out, and all we got told was it was God's will that he died. They serviced the truck. They did everything we could possibly do to prevent anything bad from happening. And still, the outcome was God's will according to everybody. And the only outcome point was that my dad was going to flip that truck. My son. My son had been born a little bit prematurely back when I was 18, and we rushed him to Kearney to the hospital. We did everything we could. They sent him home. They said he was good to go, and he died in his car seat of SIDS on their way to the doctor to save him. And what did we get told? It was God's will. So in spite of the fact that we did all the things we needed to do to try to keep the baby alive, God had other plans. And you only had one outcome, and that was going to be that the child died. I could go on and on. So when my grandpa died, they told, and I didn't get a chance to go see him before he died. I got told that was God's will too. In spite of the fact I was trying to go see him, I had vehicle troubles at the time, and my vehicle was in the shop. All right. I got my vehicle out of the shop, but my grandpa died. It was God's will. In spite of the fact I tried to get my vehicle out of the shop faster and go see my grandpa and all these things, it was God's will that I didn't get to see him before he died. Therefore, there was only one outcome. No matter what I could have done, according to them, there was only one outcome. Now, that's 3 examples. I'm talking preachers. I'm talking aunts. I'm talking my grandma. Absolutely everybody. Ministers, priests, Catholic. They tried to. It's all God's will, and God's will, according to them, only has one outcome point, and that is what God wants. Now, I had And I want everyone to know, I mean, this is not the God theory. This is God's will. If you guys want to believe in God, by all means, believe in God. I'm going to do a video that's going to show there is a probability that maybe there is a God somewhere. All right. So you may not be far off base. Now, another thing was I'm going to cover in the same video, so this might run a little long. All right, guys. But A2 suggested that I make a model of an infinite God that could see all the infinite outcomes. So we're going to fudge God. God's will. We're going to take God's will that everybody's always said and nobody thinks about. It's God's will. Does anybody ever thought about what they said? Or did they just say it? Because they all say the same thing. And while it seems to be, this model seems so simple, so is everybody's explanation. It was God's will. Whatever happened, one outcome, God's will. That's it. I'm going to fudge this now because I was asked to, but I'm not. This is my model, and until someone tells me that I can prove or show me evidence that I'm wrong, I'm sticking with this model. Not to be mean, but now we're going to fudge this. All right, we're going to take this one God, this infinite God's will, or this God's not infinite. I'm sorry, this God's will. We're going to fudge that, all right? Because we're going to say now that God is infinite. God can see all the infinite outcome points, and now we're back to infinite. All right, here's our model of infinite, but now we're going to place God here. Because God, we'll just say, from A2's deal, God can sit out here, all right? And he can observe the infinite wave from outside of it. He can see all the possible outcomes, or all the probable outcomes. All right? So I'm going to fudge God because that's not what everybody says. Everybody says God has one will. Whatever happened was God's will. You can't change it. All right? But we're going to fudge that. We're going to say they're wrong. Everybody's wrong. They've been wrong the whole time. God's infinite. And he can see every outcome. But guess what, guys? We got a problem because I can't fudge quantum physics. I can fudge God because nobody's proven or disproven God. So we'll fudge him. All right. He can view the particle wave. He can view the probability wave from outside of it because he's infinite. And for some reason, he can calculate and see the whole thing. But guess what happens then? This, once observed, guys, turns to this. The double slit experiment. As soon as it's observed, it ceases to be a wave and becomes a fixed point. There's your fixed point. So as soon as you get God outside of the probability wave becomes a fixed point and you're back to God's will. So now I've tried it. And if I'm wrong, I don't see how. I fudged God, put him infinite, outside of space, time, can see the whole thing. But quantum physics dictates as soon as that happens, you got a fixed point. Like baseball's out of a pitching machine, and therefore only one possible outcome, and we're right back to God's will. So I'll think about that. But that, again, that's just God's will. All right. We haven't touched on the God theory yet, and I'm going to eventually here. That's my plan, our plan. But I wanted to put this out there. I wanted to further explain myself, and I wanted to try to make that model that A2 wanted to make. And by the way, A2, I was watching for you to go live all night, and it didn't come up on my thing, or you didn't go live. So I would love to come on your live stream, and I was hoping to. So anyway, that's it for this, guys. That's all I'm going to do. I ran it long. And thanks again for all your participation. Thanks for all your comments that allow me to do things like this and further explain things. And thanks for all your thumbs up, thumbs down, and all of your subscriptions. Again, sitting at 145. That's awesome. That's super awesome. All right, guys, and I got another video I plan to do today, but it may not come till tomorrow because I got a couple things to do today, probably, but probably, right? So anyway, guys, I want you to have a great rest of your day, and thanks a lot for watching.